All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on this planet. This is Mel with 5-Star PWC. We're going to take a look at my bass boat I picked up. And it has engine trouble. So it's a pretty nice boat. About the only thing that needs to be done to it is to have this bench seat replaced. It's a 1991 Ranger, and it's a 19.3 feet long with a 200 horsepower Mercury EFI on it, which is the trouble that we're having today. So we started working on it the other day, and I figured out what the problem was on it. But the video we had was poor quality, so we had to get rid of it and try again. So anyways, open this up a little bit. Let's get a look at it. And I paid $6,800 for this thing, which had a brand new Minn Kota on it up here. And it had this nice cover on it. And a pretty nice motor. That's a 98 motor, which has perfect compression, good spark and everything, but it's got its problems. So the bench seat is trashed. Pretty sure I can just jerk this out and recover this by itself and just kind of leave the rest of it for now, even though it's a little bit bad. But a pretty easy fix. The carpet is really nice in it. Everything is working pretty good, except the engine is acting really goofy. And I finally figured out what the problem was on it. And it turns out that they use some, I think it's some kind of aftermarket reed stuffer thing on this thing. And so I pulled it out, and what I found was, well, the reason I pulled it out in the first place was I tried to replace, what it was doing was, let me go start there. So what it was doing is, the symptom was that it would, you'd give it throttle and it wouldn't go anywhere. It was like you wasn't even giving it any gas. And then you just go back and forth on the throttle sometimes, and it would slowly pick up speed, and then it would take off and it would give you full speed. Not quite full speed. It was a little short on the RPMs, maybe 800 short on the RPMs. According to this, it should be 5,800 RPMs. I was only getting a little over 5 on it. And so I was looking in here, and I noticed one of these bolts was loose and moving in and out on the upper reed. And I'm like, okay, well, that's a problem, right? And so they had replaced, the guy told me they replaced the reeds in it when I bought the motor. And I'm like, well, okay, there's a, something to look at, I guess. And it's sitting perfectly flat, but I can fix that. But anyways, when I saw the bolt was loose, this thing was on there, right? And it was like this bolted on here. Now, I've since had this over and sanding on it and stuff.
Going.
Almost got it. This one, and this one. Almost done. Right there, it's so bad. That's got to go down so much, man. Good grief. And I got a little bit of video on that. It's me sanding on it. That did turn out good. And I thought, this is solid plastic, because what's going on is there's a huge divot right here and here, and I sanded out these other ones. They were on every one of them. And so what I'm thinking was happening, is the reed is mounted right here. I mean, you can just see that gap right under there. That's got to be a 40 thousandths gap underneath the reed. And this is after I've worked on it a ton. So that was probably like 80 thousandths gap, and it was on every reed. And so what's happening is the air is sucking underneath the reed into the motor, so I have no control of the airflow, which is, of course, a big problem. And so I'm pretty certain that this is my whole problem. And they've worked on it a few times trying to fix it, and they just never really noticed that this thing was completely whacked out. So I pulled up on crawleymarine.com where you can type in the serial number or the model number, and it'll tell you the exact year and, you know, all the part schematics on this. And what I found out was that this part ain't in there. I was blaming, because after I sanded on this stupid thing, look what's happening to it. This is
good.
Say ready? Okay, so we sanded this quite a bit, okay, and I almost had it enough flush down. Still got a couple of them that's not hitting, but the rest of it was. But check this out. That's spongy now. So the inner, this ain't even solid plastic. The inside of it is like got some kind of foam in it or something, because look at that. So it's ruined. The part isn't any good. There ain't no fixing this. This is like soft, you know? So that was like really soft right there. And I'm like, soft right there. And anyway, so when I was in, what's going on is I'm like, you know, heck, I got to get me a new one of these, or I got to make one out of aluminum, right? But this part is actually not in on the schematics. It's not there. And I checked other years, and I just can't find it. What they have is they have just this. And, you know, the reed bolted directly to the backer plate like that. Now these, I guess, are called stuffers, you know, so I'm not sure exactly what they do, but they go like that. You can put them in there, and I guess it gives you a little more, you know, who knows, whatever that is or whatever. It's supposed to make them run a little better, I guess, those gizmos. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get rid of that altogether and go ahead and mount just this on the way it was originally. I think I'll go ahead and put these guys in. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with these things. Let me know in the comments if you think these are, you know, a good deal or not. If you have any trouble with these reed stuffers, I think is what they call them. And but anyway, so that's where we're at right now. We're going to go ahead and assemble the reeds back to this plate, and then we're going to put it on. I'm going to go ahead and seal this up some with some sealer on it, just a real small amount, so that I can get it to really seal up well. But anyways, this is what I'm finding here, and we'll go ahead and give you an update on this after I get it back together and started, and we'll take it on a test run and see if it's fixed, because I want this fixed for this weekend, okay? This is what's important in this business, my personal stuff, not the customer stuff. No, really, seriously. So, but anyways, thanks for watching 5-Star. We'll give you an update on this before we finish off this video. And please like and subscribe. It doesn't cost you guys anything, but it helps out the channel some. The big boss is that guy. He thinks Scott's bad. Where do you think Scott learns it from?
Is that what he does?
Yeah, his boss never comes in.
Is he supposed to be there?
Yeah, I went up to just putting a little RTV around the edge because I don't want it, you know, it only has 8 bolts. There's this big a gap between the bolts, you know, for around the edge. So
Are you doing a time lapse?
yeah, I'll time lapse it. When I'm done, let me get this on here.
So we decided to replace the motor in that boat?
Yep.
Yeah, I got one ready for it too over there. Just need to do something with the carbs, but yeah, it's ready to put in. He's got it pulled out. I figure we'll just take the stuff off and throw it right on the next one and put it back in. Piece of cake. Figure out what maybe wrong with that stupid DI. I don't know what the hell's wrong with that thing.
Did you try screwing with it yesterday?
No, I haven't touched it. I got better things. This is what's important. This right here. Okay.
Not a crappy DI that you put motor in, and that was your deal.
Yeah, that is nuts. I'm pretty much done with that. I got to call the guy. I'm not sure where to go from here. I'll look at it, I guess. Did you try the program on it? No fault codes. That's always great.
Yeah.
You know, that's the exact same thing that was being done to that other guy's boat that we couldn't get to run right.
Yeah.
I think he ended up replacing the fuel pump on it, and then it would run some. It still wasn't right.
This one, I mean, the gauge is still on it when you decide to check it out, but fuel pumps have a fuel pressure where you say it should be. I even got it running, and it was still up there around 120.
That's
While
a
it
little
was
high.
running. 120 is high?
110, yeah. I think
Maybe
it's
it was
high.
110. You'd have to.
I think we took the air one to it and do an air separate, and then do that. See what the air is.
Yeah, the
Because if you have, you can be getting the full pressure.
the computer showed the air dropping out. You know, remember what we were talking about with the voltage regulator, where if you watch it on the computer, it gives you a reading and then it drops to 0 and then pops back up.
Right.
It was doing that with the air. You know, it tells you the air pressure. And I don't know if that's normal because I've never looked at that before. I mean, it could be something to do with the air. Hope not, because the air pump is, you know, part of the motor. I really hate to have to take that thing out again.
I don't think it's the air pump. I think it would be the valve on top.
The valve on top?
Or the pressure relief valve for it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's the pump. I don't think we got any worries there.
So those bolts screw right into those things, eh?
Screw into these. So I got to make sure this goes the right direction. I'm going to transfer it over to here. Put it together. What a pain, huh?
Yeah. They only go in one way? Oh, they got
Yeah.
kind of a weird
Yeah, they got a weird
shape
angle
to
on them.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Okay, we got the engine back together. Everything looks good now. We got all the aftermarket crap out of there, except for those reed stuffers. Had to redo this. They had like an extension on this and on the oil pump cable or rod, and so we fixed that. We're gonna fire it up and see what it sounds like. Got everything in proper order now. It should be good. Okay, time to take it to the lake. Okay, so we got it. It had mid-range power, which it never had before, and it ran good. It had more RPMs. It was closer to 5,500 RPMs on it, and it had mid-range, which is what we need. So anyways, thanks for watching Firestar, and if you have one of these 200 Mercs and you got engine trouble, we might be able to help you out. Anyways, you can look us up in Clarkston, Michigan. Thank you very much. Bye.